And welcome to Space Chicken, where 1 out of 3 people did show prep this week. Today,
Uh,
on Space Chicken, Congress is boning us on the technology side of the House and what it all means. Joining me, a curtain up in the top center square. Scott had to go unclog a drain in the kitchen, and he said start without him. So we're starting. And then, of course, the guy to my left, your right, who I've only been texting all week what the topic was and what we were going to be talking about. And just as I hit record, was like, I don't know what topic it is, but I'm ready. So we're going with it. So Congress this week passed a thingamabob there that allowed ISPs. Okay, just for so you know, Congress, and then it went through the Senate, and then it was ratified quietly in the middle of the night by our Lord and Savior, Donald Trump. And he signed into law a provision that would allow internet service providers to essentially sell your data, right? So here's a little bit of backstory on that, right? Back in the Barack days, everyone got together in the Congress, and by everyone I mean they were all at work that day, and they decided that hey, maybe people like Verizon and Comcast and AT&T who provide the internet for you, right? So we're talking about internet service providers are not allowed to sell your information to advertisers, and they were like, nah, that seems like a no-no. It seems a little bit too dirty in the game. However, companies like Amazons and the Googles and the Facebooks of the world were allowed to sell your information to advertisers. So I don't know if you guys have ever been online and you're like, hey, I want to upgrade my microphone. And then you go on Google and you start looking up microphones, and you go on Amazon and you start looking up microphones, and you're like, you know what? I don't have any money right now. And then you're on a website somewhere else completely unrelated to microphones, and there's an advertisement for a microphone, maybe even a microphone you've recently searched for. The way that happens is that they are in real time like selling your information to advertisers to do targeted advertising. There's different ways to do targeted advertising. For example, on YouTube, some of the targeted advertising is based off the type of video you're watching. So if the video is tagged gaming or stuff for males 18 to 23, you'll get a lot of Naruto stuff. You get a lot of upcoming video games, right? You're not going to get a lot of stuff for like tax. You're not going to get TurboTax videos there, right? So that's the target ad. But this is like, hey, you were looking for this. Here is my ad for you. And for some reason, they drew this line in the sand where they were like, all right, if you go to Google and Google it, then they can sell your stuff. But just you have to have internet, right? So they view the internet now in this day and age as a thing you must have, like water, right? It seems weird, but everyone needs water. But I mean water as a utility to the house, or electricity as a utility to the house. They said they're looking at internet as a utility that is considered somewhat essential, right? And this day and age, so they're like, you can't do it. The person who provides it be the person who's also selling it, because that's too much. That's too much. Like, they have to use you to get it, right? So this current pro-business, I guess, is what they're going for, form of, elected representatives in the United States Congress, was like, hey, that's not fair. Google and Facebook. Oh my God, Scott's here. Scott.
Holy crap, that was weird.
Scott.
It's like a ghost.
Oh, he disappeared again. He's
What
gone.
the hell?
He's
I literally looked down to
Scott!
attack. Whoa.
He's back. It's so good. All right.
Hello.
Hey, so
What?
I hope you did your read ahead, because I just explained to the listeners about Congress, and then of course it actually was signed into law about internet service providers being able to sell our stuff, our information. So, what I was gonna say was, so they were like, hey, it's not fair to Verizon and AT&T that they can't sell your information, but Google can, right? So a couple things happened when I read that justification. We're like, well, that's not fair. These guys can sell your info. Why can't these guys sell your info? To which my gut instinct is, shouldn't no one be allowed to sell our info? Right? Like, I feel like they went the total opposite way, where they were like, oh man, we're fucking over Alphabet, instead of going, hey, human beings who we're elected to represent, let's not sell you out to everyone. So, Wilson, because you said you were ready, even though you couldn't remember what today's topic was, what do you think? Yeah, you totally missed that, Scott. I'm like, all right, you ready? And he goes, what's the topic? I'm like, fuck you, Wilson. You tell me what the topic is. All right, so go. Give me a hot take. I need a hot take. I need to be fucking moved right now.
I think this is crazy. All right. I think those rules were set in place to support the net neutrality stuff and kind of keep everybody's business to themselves in a sense. But I can't agree with you more that getting rid of that rule pretty much puts us out there. Now your ISP can track what's going on, really see what websites you're going to, and then sell that. Oh, that's crazy. And what you were talking about is double dipping. Like, now that they're able to sell that, not only are you forced to buy from them, so you're getting internet from them, but now they're selling all that information that they're getting from you as they monitor your traffic in and out. And now people are like, oh yeah, I could do VPNs. Like, hey, that'll encrypt my data. But can you really trust the VPNs? On the other side of that, the VPN person, the guy at the computer could be like, let's secretly sell this data because we need to make some money. So I think this is like insane in a world that we're so reliant on technology and the internet of things.
So I'm gonna pull a real dick move on you right now, Wilson. Explain net neutrality.
Oh, because net neutrality is a bit difficult to explain.
It's actually super simple to explain. You threw that in there, even though the issue with selling people's data actually has very little to do with net neutrality. But you were like, hey, it has to do with net neutrality. And then you just you're just like, you're just gonna float that term out there. So what is what do you think net neutrality is?
Net neutrality is just about pretty much the internet being a free place that you can use and all that stuff without repercussions of being monitored and so on. No websites being blocked or anything like that.
That's not what net neutrality is.
So what is it?
Net neutrality is essentially the principle that everyone who's on the internet, if you have internet, it's equal access to the internet. But not just like you as a person, but websites as well. So it's the concept that says, hey, Netflix, you use tons of bandwidth, so we're going to charge you more to be on the internet than other people, or we'll throttle you. Or, hey, little website, you can't pay as much as Amazon to be internet, so we're going to charge you more and you can't afford it, therefore you get less internets than everyone else. And it applies to businesses, governments, and then, some of what you said about blocking sites and stuff is true, but it has little to nothing to do with the ability of companies, internet service providers, search engines, generally to data mining is not the right term, but I'm going to say data mining anyway because we're all using wrong terms tonight and say whatever we want. So
I thought you were trying to fix things, here. And then you're just going to join me?
Yeah, fuck it.
That's
chaos,
insane.
Dude. Pure anarchy.
What do you have to say, Scott? You over there all quiet and stuff.
All right. So this is an interesting topic, right? Because I'm always on the side of so I want there to be competition, right? Because that was a big thing with net neutrality, was competition, right? Because there's a lot of places in the country that have one service provider and they want to make it I can't think of the word, like phone lines. So basically more companies could start up and charge cheaper rates, essentially, so people get internet for cheaper. And I get that. This whole ISP thing, what's interesting to me is now this was done in 2015, 16. This was passed.
Yeah, on or about.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So prior to that, were ISPs making money off our data? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Okay. So now here's my question, right? And to what you said before. All right. So the ISP said about Google. Now that makes a good point, right? So we're all using a browser, right? We're all using either Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, right? Something like that. Now the ISPs, you know, they're setting up the infrastructure, they're setting up the connections, right? They're dealing with people cord cutting and they're losing business on the cable side of things, right? They want to make money, right? They're a business, they want to make money. So what I'm kind of trying to be like devil's advocate here and looking at this, okay, so they're going to restrict the money they can make by maybe selling the demographics and advertising, whatever that may be. I don't know what they're going to sell, right? And they're going to say, no, you can't do any of that. But as soon as you log on, Google can steal all your crap and sell it and make money, right? And so the ISP is really losing out on money, and Google's just reaping in the benefits. Now, Google was heavy into the previous administration. There was a lot of Google representatives in the White House. I'm not saying that had anything to do with it, okay? But I'm just kind of looking at it from that perspective. Like, what if I owned a company that provided internet, right? And let's just say I have this town that has this internet, and I would like to maybe help advertisers and get some more money because I'm losing money right now, right? Or maybe in any kind of respect like that. And, you know, Congress comes along and says no. And I feel like it's getting to the point where we're just going to shut out internet service providers, right? If you regulate and say you can't do this, you can't do this, you got to open up competition, you got to do this, got to do this. It's going to be like, what's the point of innovating? What's the point of trying to create faster speeds and all that kind of stuff? You know, they're going to get cornered into this thing. So I often wonder, where's the fine line between this, right? Because like you said, somebody's going to be making money off my data, right? You know, so who's it going to be? And people are like, they're destroying your privacy and the ISPs have all your stuff. And they always knew what you were doing anyway. Like, even if right now, I don't really know what the ISP
wait, hold on, just real quick, as a point of clarification, because this is super important. There is stuff no one is allowed to sell, including the ISPs, right? So they're not allowed to sell your name, right? They're not allowed to say Scott, right? They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to sell like your location. If they have any personally identifiable information like your home address, because they have that stuff because it's necessary for them to provide a service to you, like they can't sell that, right? That's still illegal. That's illegal for anyone to do it. You can't do it if you're any type of business who has that kind of information. You can't sell it because it's something that used to happen back in the day where like one company would take it and then it would sell it to another company, and then you would get like robocalls. Like, I don't know if anyone remembers that or anyone, if that's even the people we're talking to has a memory that runs that deep. I do want to run counter to what you're saying. You're giving the ISPs money. They're not providing that service for free, right? Google, right? They don't charge you to be on their website, right? So they're getting it back. But I have internet. I pay for my internet. So they're already getting money from me. So what's their incentive? How about we have less oligopolies, where it's like, oh hey, these are the people who provide internet only here. That's why they don't have to innovate. There is no incentive for them to innovate, even if they get to have your data, because they don't compete with anyone. I'm the internet person for here, and that's it. So now I'm going to make more money off of you. And I'm going to tell you the biggest advocate, right, to have those laws repealed were Verizon. Verizon, because guess what they are? They're an internet service provider for your phone too. And I think that's something we need to realize too. We're talking about the phone company who provides you data to your phone is an internet service provider. So AT&T and Verizon, not just on the Fios and their conglomeration buying up cable companies and DirecTV and stuff. Not just that landline one, but the over-the-air internet they can still sell, which means if you're searching things on your cell phone, man, you know what? I got nothing to do. I'm going to sit at this bench and look up sneakers because I need new sneakers. They could literally, within that small thing, go, hey, the Reebok 2 blocks from you can now directly advertise to you on your phone because they have your location because it's an ISP.
I will say, look, I'm totally with you. I mean, I use DuckDuckGo as my search engine, right? I use a VPN as much as I can. I'm totally with my having privacy, right? I use SpiderOak for my backup. I'm totally with it, and and I don't really like the idea. But I'm trying to think of their perspective. Now, you said you're paying for the service, right? You pay for TV, but there's still commercials, right? And sometimes they need that extra money, right? I don't know. I'm not a businessman. I really don't know the business structure of this, right? But there's plenty of things in life that you pay for, but you also have to deal with some kind of advertisement within it, right?
So my thing is, you go to Google, right? And let's say you search up, hop on, Danny, the Reebok sneakers, right? You could search it on Google. Anything associated with Google, to include, YouTube, Amazon, and things like that use Google Ads, will show Reebok, right? The difference is that that's just for Google advertisement. If I go to DuckDuckGo, who, let's say, may not be using Google advertising, I will never get anything from Reebok. But now with the ISP selling that, it doesn't matter what website I go to, all of that information is there. So that's the biggest thing for me. Like, they're the ones seeing all of the traffic going out. If you only go to Google, you only see the Google traffic, right? They're not like spying on you and monitoring you. You get me?
Yeah, I get that. My whole thing is, if this was put in 2016, which I think is when it was this stuff happening prior to 2016? Yes. Because I didn't see it, and that's my question: is that what was happening prior to 2016? And I'm not necessarily defending the ISPs, right? I don't want it to be like, oh, I'm totally for them doing this. I just find that a lot of times that in these situations you get this like, they're taking this, and there's no like hashing out of what's going on. And to be honest with you,
but there's no roaring. This is happening quietly. And it just
everywhere
it just happened.
Every tech site out there is
no.
Now
Listen,
it is. Every tech site is. Yes, you're right. But that's the industry that they work in, right? You go right now and ask anyone who doesn't try to make a living through tech or keep up with tech news, and ask them, one, what net neutrality is, because that was brought up today, right? Or two, hey, how do you feel about ISPs being able to have your information now? And then even if they go, what are you talking about? And you explain it to them, and probably when you explain to them Google, they'll probably go, yeah, everyone has your information, whatever. And they'll get over it. There is no roar amongst the people. There's a roar amongst us, but I just like making noise. But I want to go back to something you said earlier that I can't let fly. The TV gives commercials, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they sell ad space to specific people, and it's actually, just as far as advertisement goes, it's proven that TV ads are incredibly inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not targeted. It's just like, hey, I'm Coke, I want to be in your psyche. Not, hey, this guy likes soda.
Well,
so
you're right.
I'm going to hit him with the Coke to remind him that, hey, we're soda. It's not like that. But but the reason for that is because they take a show that gets ratings and it drives traffic, and then the advertisers go, hey, I want to be seen where the traffic is. It's not like, hey, we're driving this traffic. This traffic is this thing guaranteed because I can see everyone who's watching right now, right? So it's different than a normal demographic. Like, I create something to draw you in, and I'm aiming at males 19 to 23, and I can sell it to advertisers like, hey, you want to sell Red Bull, come to us, right? The other thing, what they're doing, remember, what the ISPs are doing is they're not showing you commercials on the internet. That's not how they're making their money. They're making their money taking your information and selling it to someone else. That other person is then coming around and advertising. So there's this creepy third step, right? And that's the one I have a problem with, that creepy third step.
So I will say that they do have demographics for shows, so they know what age groups are watching for shows, so they can target advertising, so that you're not going to see, like you said, Red Bull on a morning soap opera, because they know that's not who's going to be there. They know the demographics for the show, so they can say, hey, younger people are watching this, so we're going to advertise things that younger kids are going to watch who might be watching this. Again, that makes me feel creepy inside, what you just said. I agree with you about that. A lot of times I'm trying to see, and I get like you said, searching DuckDuckGo, nobody else is going to see that, but your ISP will see that. I totally get that aspect of it. Yeah. Again, I don't want them to see that. Yeah. But it's just, if we're talking about the general public, like you were saying, then it's like, okay, the ISP can't see your thing, but the general public doesn't know anyway, so they're going to go on Google, or they're going to go on Microsoft, or they're going to go on Apple or whatever, or not Apple. And so they're going to go on these things, and they're going to search and be tracked and targeted with advertising. And I know that Google doesn't cover 100% of websites in this world, but I mean a good percentage of websites. So I feel like they're going to get, if we're going to regulate here, right? Why not regulate everything in that aspect? Because what are you doing without the internet, right? So most people, when they go on the internet, they're going to open the browser, right? Most 99% of people are going to open a browser. How many people actually use a browser that's like a DuckDuckGo? No, DuckDuckGo is not a browser. Like a Tor browser, right? Or use a search engine like DuckDuckGo, right? Not that many. Very small percentage of the people like us who are in the know. But otherwise, everyone's using the same crap. And guess what? Google's making money off of them, and Microsoft's making money off of them, and all those people are making money off them, and they're just ringing in the bucks. And I get why the ISPs were kind of like, well, hey, all these people aren't going to adjust for Google. They're going to keep giving them money. So why can't we make money? You're gonna make me they have enough money guy, and I always end up sounding very anti-capitalist when we get into these topics. I always feel backed into the corner to go, you keep making like the claim, right? Mm-hmm. That it's just, and again, I know that ultimately you're on my side, and I appreciate you arguing for the other side. That they need how come this group gets to make money and the other group doesn't get to make money? But the thing is, the other group is making money. They're already making money because I'm paying for the internet in a non-compete environment. I am paying for internet where they have no incentive to provide it for me as cheap as possible. They are going to get my money at the rate that they just have, and I can't go, fuck you, I'm going somewhere else, because they're like, we're the only game in town, right? That's how internet service works, right? So again, you're saying, hey, you've got me pigeonholed into a corner. You don't have the built-in capitalistic principle of competition to make things better and cheaper, more efficient, for cheaper, because of competition that doesn't exist. And yet you're saying I need to facilitate you making more money off of me, right? Because that's the thing, they're making more money off of me. I'm paying them to make more money off of me, right? That seems super shitty. That seems like we're getting got, and part of it is because we're like addicted to the internet, right? Because here's the thing, right? So should they then, because they're an internet service provider, get a piece of the pie from eBay, right? Should they get a piece of the pie from fucking any retail store online? Because those stores are only allowed to make money on the internet because I have
been facilitated to get to that internet. If the justification is they're facilitating me getting to Google and then Google gets to make money off of me, they're facilitating me going to a lot of places that are going to make money off of me, right? Shit. Con Edison, I pay my electric bill online, right? So now Con Edison's getting money conveniently from me because of my internet service provider. Should they get a taste of that too? Like at what? Because now we're saying that, hey, these people get to do this, so they get to do it too, under justification of that they're making money because of them. Well, everyone's making money because of the internet service providers. So are they just supposed to get a taste of everyone? Like, is that how it's supposed to work? Because that's a more that's the rabbit hole that we actually go through when you start using it's because of the internet service providers that Google gets to make their money.
You know what's the craziest part about this whole thing is that no matter how much you look into it, nobody but the companies wanted this. Like, no consumer, no tech person, like no one other than Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, the usual suspect wanted this. It's just one-sided.
Yeah, but that's not shocking. Well, again, what's shocking is that the only people who are upset are like us, you know?
Oh,
like that's the other side of it. Because again, we've talked about this before, about how like corporations and like conglomerates and stuff, they're inherently evil, right? Like, I'm not gonna get it on my high horse, but their objective is simply to make money while crushing all competition, right? So that's what they're going for, right? I don't fault them, right? And again, so I don't.
The world runs on greed.
Yeah, I don't fault them wanting the money. Like, I don't fault them for going, hey, I want to get in on that shit. Like, I understand. I fully understand that. I have a problem with the human beings that are supposed to represent us being, one, super old and super out of touch to what this actually means, because their brains go, hey, we're ruining a competitive business environment, not understanding that we're talking about selling people's information, even though it's sold under like this weird, we're selling you information, but we're not selling it about you. It's not going to be Danny stuff that gets sold. It's going to be, IP address 15554 point whatever.
Now
that
things happen for a reason.
That computer's really into Asian porn.
Things happen for a reason. So does anyone know why they had that internet privacy thing?
Okay, so there's this other weird thing happening in Congress, and I don't want to get too far into the politics, that they just want to undo everything the last guy did. I'm talking about they're super horned up. So basically anything for the past 2 years that the last guy did, everyone's like, we're gonna make that last guy never exist because that's more important than doing new stuff. So it's this weird thing. Like, it's the only thing that would make me think this even made it to like a thing. They're like, we can erase this.
Do we
No
know
one will care.
why the last guy did this? Why did he make this a thing? Because the only thing I could think of is there was a lot of hacking during 2015.
So no, what they did was, so like under the FCC, and I don't know it all off the top of my head, there's a way to identify people. Like, there's like a Title I and a Title II, right? And defining the ISPs under Title I put them under a different set of rules than identifying them as Title II. And the reason that these two things exist is because, you can see ethically that if you're providing the service and then also selling the information, it seems fucked up, inherently fucked up. So something already existed to stop this, and the only thing they actually changed was how they were coded, and how their privacy rules work. And the argument from the businesses, right, from the businesses was, well, we would follow all the privacy acts anyway. We just don't want to be made to. And I'm like, that's petulant. So
all right. So this is the problem with politics in general right now, or just about anything that comes out, right? So if something comes out, you're going to hear the loudest people first, right? So I know that we're in our unique sphere here of tech and stuff like that.
The unique sphere.
like that's what I heard, right? Was just like, even if you like search it on YouTube or you search it anywhere, it's going to be like Congress decided to sell your privacy to ISPs or whatever the hell that is, right? And the thing is, I'm a type of person that wants to hear the actual back and forth. Like, I want to hear why they voted that way, right? Is there a reason why they were voted that way? Because are they erring on the side of something that we don't know about is really my question. And I know that it's so easy to sit here and say, this is messed up, it's obvious, but I just want to hear the rationale from somebody who voted for it so that I can hear like, oh, maybe that makes sense to do it like that, right? I mean, so
the argument is government overreach, right? It's government overreach to tell businesses what to do, and the it kills competition because it allows people, again, like the Googles and Amazons, to get it, and then the ISP people not to. That's the rationale. Again, some of it is principled. Some of it literally is, we don't like when government does stuff, so government needs to stop doing stuff. Meanwhile, it's like, hey, well, sometimes you need a little bit of government doing stuff just to make stuff not super shitty.
I do. Okay, so I do have a couple. I can see a couple concerns, right? So if I can see the ISPs often wondering, even with the net neutrality stuff, right? Because the more the government wants to encroach on it and regulate it of some sort, right? The more is lost. And I'm not saying that like it's necessarily bad, but I do, but I'm wondering, because I feel like this is heading towards the place of where people are going to say, oh, everyone should have internet, right? Like they should have it. And would it be worthwhile to have the business in providing internet to a certain point? I also wonder where my trail of thought went with that one, because it just flew out the door when I was going down that thing. Oh, no. Right. So
there it is.
Here's what I find interesting, right? So people are like, oh, they sold their privacy to the ISPs, right? So, okay. So right in my brain right now, I have ISPs, I have Google and everybody else, and then I have the government. In the past 8 years, who could you trust, right? So in the past 8 years, okay, Google's been all through your crap. They know everything about you, right? You're worried about the ISP know everything about you. And the damn government is tapping all the phone calls and everywhere you go and everything you do, right? So who do you trust, right? And I find it funny that people want to put more trust in the government in regulating this, right? It bothers me because sometimes I don't want the government to be too big, too much into this, right? Because I'd rather deal with a bad company than a bad government. And it's kind of interesting to see it unfold where people are forgetting how much was taken from them by the government and looked on. It didn't matter what you were doing, who you were with, or what you were doing. They had it. Your phone calls, your text messages. Now they were reading your WhatsApp, which is a secure platform, right? It didn't stop them. So they have all these things, right? And we're fighting over the ISPs, and I'm like, it doesn't really matter who you go with right now. You're screwed. And it's just interesting that I get the fight against the ISPs selling your information, because you want that to be open free. Because America has the best internet, okay? There's other countries that restrict your shit. Like if you go to China, they look through your emails, man. They'll take things out, okay? I don't want that to happen. Right? I don't want my access to the world to be in any way censored. But I'm wondering.
Think about it. It already is. So, for example, right, you do a Google search and you're searching for the sneakers, right? Reeboks. That first page is just going to give you search results on Reebok. So you are completely blocked off from the rest of the internet because the information you use
it's not the
is
same.
just the Reebok.
By the way, are we brought to you by Reebok today? We've been doing Reebok shoes for a while.
Yeah.
Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag would totally be sponsored if you sponsor. Listen,
We'll put the Reebok logos.
I am like really digging the conversation. We've been talking for a while about doing a political show. I think we should start. I think this is the kickoff. This is the prelude to Politichicken.
Politichicken. Nice.
Politichicken. the political
The hen
It's
house
a
of
platform,
chickens.
yeah.
the quack, 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 quack. What do you call it? We there was a lot of information.
It's
In
hard
this
to do this
one,
in one show.
Closing thoughts then?
and a lot of back and forth. And somehow to bring it back to video games, yeah, I'm not even gonna try. I do though.
Space.
Yeah, in space. I do want to say that I am right. So,
Sure.
we can go with no. Again, Scott, thanks for thanks for taking the other side of it. That was good. Wilson, I hate your guts for not doing the read ahead like I asked you to, even though I literally send you all the articles to read. But but here's the thing: we're back, baby. We're back weekly between this and Popcorn Chicken, and I guess we're gonna add a third show. So literally, we're all over the place, and we're gonna start
Little
with
chicken.
sketches too.
I can't wait.
It's the future.
God.
That's at NRAG_ Danny on the tweeters, and of course the other YouTube page, No Right Answers Gaming. You guys got any plugs before we go? Before we end this biscuit? No.
Come tell
Tell
me
your
how wrong I
friends.
was.
Oh
Share.
yeah, totally go in the comments
Comment,
and the YouTubers
subscribe.
and be like, "Hey, you're all fucking idiots. You don't know what
We're
net
cool.
neutrality is or what all this stuff is, and you
Scott-
guys shouldn't
Scott
talk
is,
politics."
Is a
Why
registered Republican, as we can hear.
Why haven't you guys reviewed Mass Effect yet? Whatever. Fuck you guys. Bye.